Hey guys, it's Mike again for you. Tonight I'm going to be bringing you a quick product review slash tutorial, and this is going to be on the new Kaloud Lotus. I know that I'm not the first and a little bit late in the game on this review, but when it came to this certain product I really wanted to take the time and test it out as many different ways that I could before I actually brought you the review, which I have done at this point. So I do have a pretty good idea of it. So let me go ahead and get on into it. I did pick this up when it was on the pre-sale at Kaloud, so I'm not sure what they're going for nowadays. I know they are a little bit pricey, and some people out there are a little concerned about that price. But before I get too far ahead of myself, let me just go ahead and explain to you why I feel that the price is justifiable. So anyway, it's going to come packaged really nicely. It's got its own box. The directions, which really aren't too many directions, are inside of here. I'm not going to rip it apart for you, but if you pick one up, you're interested, just look inside the little outer casing. The box itself, a really nice box, clip on the front, opens up, and it just sits right on in there. Now, when they're brand new, they're going to be really nice and shiny. This one, of course, I've used again many times, so it's not quite as shiny, but irregardless, still works the same. Basically, you got two pieces. You got your top, then you got your bottom where the coal sits. The top, when it sits on the bottom, just move it around so that you can open up your vents or close the vents to control your heat. Coal sit inside there. It's got slits on the bottom, which is going to allow for your heat and your airflow, and then it's got slits on the very bottom that's actually going to sit on top of the bowl and the tobacco, and it's got these little bumps here that kind of elevate it from the tobacco. As you see, it does have some black tar on it, just some burnt tobacco left over. You will have that, but not to worry, it does clean off rather easily. So pretty simple. As far as before I show you some results, let me just tell you a few things I've noticed about it. It's going to work with pretty much all of your common bowls. There are some out there that it doesn't really work with. I've tried it with a number of different bowls. It works with an Egyptian, funnel bowl, vortex. I wouldn't say that it would work with a Pico bowl or something smaller. Of course, the diameter of it, you're going to want the bowl to be somewhere around that diameter. Super Chief, I've used it in that. I've used it in a unglazed Turkish type Egyptian bowl. So I've gotten pretty good results from everything. The one bowl that I really was having problems with and wasn't able to get good results with was the Crown Classic, and it's really kind of a bummer for me because that was pretty much my go-to bowl. I do have a micro funnel, a Crown micro funnel, that is big enough in diameter that it does work with, but again, I just really love my Crown Classic bowl, and I didn't get very good results with this, and I think that's because of the Crown Classic. It has the bumps on the top where the holes are, and you can't really pack the tobacco up above that, otherwise it's going to get clogged. You're not going to have good airflow, and the way this sits on the top of the bowl is just too high above the tobacco to actually properly heat it. So that's my one big con about this. Other than that, it works great with all other bowls that I've tried. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and pause real quick, get things set up, get it going, and come back at you a little while later and show you some results of the Kaloud Lotus. So stay tuned. Alright guys, I'm back. As you see, I've got things going. The Lotus is on top and cooking, so let me go ahead and get on into it. As I said earlier, it does work with pretty much all of your common bowls. Right now I'm using an alien funnel, and I am using some Haze Cocoa Roast, which will be my next review immediately after this, so stay tuned for that. So getting right on into it, guys, let me make clear right off the bat that what I tell you is based on my personal experience with this. With any product, is really kind of a learning curve and trying to determine what works best for you. So with that being said, as far as my packing method, what I found works best is a sprinkle pattern or a fluff type pack. I don't really do a dense pack when I use the Lotus. And again, you know, that is going to vary depending on what you're smoking, what brand you're smoking, your smoking style and habits, things like that. So just keep that in mind. Now, as far as the startup time, that was something that I was a little concerned with before I actually used it. I thought it would take a little while longer, but it really does not. It's about the same amount of time to get going if you were to be using foil. So it's very good in that aspect. So I think that's all I have really before I go ahead and show you some results. So let's get on with that. As far as my setup, typical setup, water in the base, washable hose here. You already know what bowl I'm using. As far as the heat, actually I forgot. I'm using 2 Coconaras laid flat. Again, something that you're going to have to determine what works best for you. Some brands and some bowls I use 3 on the side, kind of a Stonehenge type deal. As far as the vents go, what's working best at the particular time is what works best. You may have to take a cool out, you may have to put a cool on. Ash the coals every so often, obviously, and continue about your business smoking. So with that, I've been going about 15 minutes. Let's see what we have. Excellent clouds. Really can't complain about that at all. Pretty much the same, if not a little bit better than using foil. That was something that I was skeptical about again before I went into it. Kind of thought that it was going to be like one of your metal coal screens where it kind of deadens the clouds, but really not the case with this. So no complaints there. So that's really all you're probably wanting to see, guys. How does it produce? Well, that's how it produces. So let me go ahead and talk about some opinions that I have on this. I've heard it referred to as a coal saver. For me, I don't really see that, and it's not a bad thing, but let me go ahead and explain. The reason I don't see that is because I've noticed personally that with using the Lotus, I'm typically able to go one more round of coals than I would if I were using foil. So to me, that's adding another round of coals. It's not really saving coals. Now, I have noticed at the same time that the coals do burn a little bit longer when using the Lotus. So in that sense, yes, it is a coal saver. But more so for me, it's more of a shisha saver. I'm sprinkle packing the tobacco, and I'm able to go one more round than I normally would. So that's more of a shisha saver to me. And another thing I've noticed, which is probably the most important factor of this product, is that it intensifies the flavor of the tobacco, which is, for lack of a better word, just awesome. I really enjoy that. So for that alone, if you're looking to pick one of these up but are a little bit concerned of the price, just the fact that it intensifies the flavor so much and makes it so enjoyable, and that you're actually able to go a little while longer, it really pays for itself in a short amount of time. So I can't recommend this enough. I highly recommend you pick one of these up if you do want one. If you have been looking at one, go ahead and try it out. It's pretty simple, guys. I don't want to go too long into the video and overextend the time, but I do want to try to be as informative as possible, which I think I have been. Now, as far as when you're done, obviously it's metal. One thing you want to avoid is touching that, and that actually does include the top here, because the top, the handle actually goes inside of this rubber, you know, about halfway. So you don't want to grab it all the way at the end because it will burn. So you just kind of want to grab it by the tip. As far as taking it off the bowl, take your tongs and those little slits at the bottom. You know, you just want to kind of grab it by there, or you can go on to the top. And that's pretty much how you handle it. Just do not grab it. As far as cleanup, pretty simple. Just run some hot water over it, or let it sit in some hot water, and that burnt tobacco on the bottom pretty much scrapes off with a Brillo pad or something like that. So definitely no complaints in that department. So with that, folks, I think it's about all I have for it. As I said earlier, the one thing that I really am disappointed on is that it does not work with the Crown Classic, but I'm not going to let that deter my opinion on the product. It's a very good product, and I'm going to have to give it a 10 for 10 just because I can't use my Crown Classic with it. I have many other bowls that I can use with it, and I'm happy with the results. So 10 for 10 for the Kaloud Lotus. If you can, please comment, like, and subscribe. If you have any questions about the Lotus, just leave them in the comment box and I'll get back with you. So that's it, guys. Go and pick one up. Again, thanks for watching. Until next time, smoke on.